lovers, it is G-Swizz here, and I am here today to do the book Superlatives tag. So if you had no idea whatsoever, this tag was created by Chelsea Palmer. I recently just started watching her channel and I love her videos, and I saw that she made an original tag and I loved the original tag. And I personally decided for myself that I was going to do this tag, and I decided as well that I was going to wear my year 12 jersey back from when I was in high school. That's right, this is a thing. It's a thing. That's a thing. Dang it, now everybody knows how old I am. That's fun. I absolutely love the idea of this tag, and I've waited for a book tag for so long that I wanted to do. It stood out to me like straight away. I was literally calling out my name and being like, G-Swizz, you've got me! And then I just sit there and I'm just like, yes! I have you. Anyway, I'm just rambling on, but when you're in a creativity slump and you're never really motivated to film anymore, it has seriously been a constant struggle, but I'm really excited to do this tag, so I'm gonna do it. Prompt number 1 is best dress. And for this prompt, you gotta talk about a book with a beautiful cover. When I think of a beautiful cover, I think of Aruh, Shah, and the End of Time by Roth, which is the first book in Rick Riordan's new imprint. I love all the covers that I've seen so far that are going to be published in this imprint, but this one is gorgeous. The different colors coming from all directions, I love it. It is my pride and joy. I'm excited to read the book, but the cover alone is something to be appreciated. Prompt number 2 is The Class Clown. For this one, you gotta talk about a book that made you lol. Here I'm gonna talk about— oh, flip. My sister texts me again while I'm doing this. I'd be mad. Oh man, shut up. I'm gonna talk about the series for this one, and the series I've decided to talk about is Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard series. I love this series, and this series made me lol so much. And I don't know if I'm the only one, but oh my gosh, shut up. I honestly don't know if I'm the only one, but Thor made me laugh, especially in this one. Like, I don't know why. Because MCU Thor and Thor in this series both make me laugh, so I have absolutely no idea why, because I can't distinguish the two at the moment. But I need to reread the series in order to distinguish the two, because they're completely different, but I've watched Thor Ragnarok 10 times. But I do remember laughing a lot at this series. It was just hilarious. It was a great time. I enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. I laughed out loud with a lot of Rick Riordan's books, but like, the most recent Rick Riordan book that I've definitely completely laughed out loud to. Like, I do love the Trials of Apollo, but the Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard series really did make me laugh, so I recommend this one. Prompt number 3 is The Cutest Couple. And for this one, you gotta talk about a book that features a favorite OTP. This is my favorite OTP, and you can't change my mind. Take that, suckers. Prompt number 4 is the most popular. And for this prompt, you're gonna talk about the most hyped up book on your shelf. Yeah, absolutely no doubt about it. This is probably the most hyped up book on my shelf. I mean, there are other hyped up books on my shelf, like a bunch of Cassandra Clare books, like the Cruel Prince, Throne of Glass books and stuff, but this is really hyped. I'm not saying that this one book in particular is overhyped. No, this one book is hyped for very good reason. The rest of the series, though, but this book is a good one. Prompt number 5 is The Nicest Car. For this prompt, I gotta show you the most expensive book I own. It's this one right here. This is the exclusive edition of Lady Midnight, and it's signed. My love! I freaking adore this book, and I need to keep it safe at all times. Prompt number 6 is The Worst Car. I mean, people call them bombs or lemons these days, but yeah, we'll go with worst car. For this prompt, I'm gonna talk about a book with a bad cover, but with a solid story that took me for a ride. It's the book I'm currently reading. It's Live Like by J. Kristoff. This cover isn't that bad, but it's not that good. It's so mediocre compared to the US and the UK cover. In fact, the US cover isn't really that great either, but the UK cover is stunning. This was the design for the Australian art. Funniest thing was the fact that the publisher was hyping up the cover drop of this book, and we were waiting for it. It was the funniest thing. We were all waiting on Twitter to see what the Australian edition of Life Like would look like. And bear in mind, we already knew what the Australian arts looked like, so we were ready to be ultimately surprised. Then they dropped the cover. It's literally the same cover, but it's just metallic. I mean, let's be real, there have been worse cover drops. Mostly when the cover gets changed mid-series, like those are the worst cover drops. But let's be real here, the build-up and anticipation was literally for nothing. Prompt number 7 is The Biggest Nerd. For this one, I'm gonna talk about the nerdiest book I own. I don't have a simple answer for this. My answer would be my Marvel comic book shelf right there. I mean, that is kind of geeky and nerdy in itself. You know? I'm gonna call that my nerd herd. Prompt number 8 is The Most Likely to Be Late. And for this one, you gotta talk about a book that is underhyped and you're still waiting for the fandom to arrive. It's this one right here, Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson. I love and I absolutely adore this series. It's very funny because everybody loves superhero movies, but nobody ever really talks about superhero books. And I really want more superhero book recommendations. So if you guys have any superhero book recommendations, please hit me up. But guys, the author is Brandon Sanderson and nobody is talking about the series. I mean, like, I get that it's different from Mistborn. It's not Mistborn, it doesn't take place in the Cosmere universe, but it's still a really good series. I definitely feel like people should give it a chance and not compare it to the Cosmere universe because they're completely different. It's just really good. It's a really good time. I highly recommend the series. Book number 9 is Most Likely to Succeed. For this one, you gotta talk about a first book in a series that is going places. This one, Children of Blood and Bone by Todi Adeyemi. I love this book so much. I adore it, man. Like, honestly, this book has taken over my life. I'm living for it. I love it. I adore it. I praise this book so much, and I love that the whole world is also praising this book and it's getting the hype that it's deserving. It has a movie deal and everything. I'm honestly so happy and so proud of the author, like she's my own child, because she's done such an amazing job. You're doing amazing, sweetie. Oh, that got weird. Book number 10 is The Most Athletic. You gotta talk about the biggest book you own in physical size or length. I mean, it doesn't look like the biggest book I own, but it is in length. And I'm not going to talk about like an anthology or anything like that, like the complete works of Shakespeare, because that is huge. But if we're talking about a single volume of a series, it's this one right here, Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. This book literally has 993 pages. And the final book in the trilogy is not confirmed to come out anytime soon, so I'm going to leave this one away for a while. But honestly, I could seriously injure somebody with this thing. It is so thick. Like thick with 2 C's. Approach number 11 is The Most Intellectual. And for this one, you gotta talk about the most thought-provoking book you've ever read. That is so hard. I'm caught between 1984, The Great Gatsby, and Fahrenheit 451. And finally, prompt number 12, I'm gonna talk about the best all-round. And for this one, I'm gonna talk about a book or a series that I will always recommend to anyone. And there are many books and series that I would recommend to anyone. I haven't mentioned this book yet, and I'm going to mention this book because I would recommend it to everyone, no matter what demographic they're in. That is Stranger Dreamer by Laini Taylor, because this book is just so beautiful, and I honestly feel like anybody at any age can really appreciate this book because of its amazing writing style and its amazing and captivating story. So this is the book that I recommend to absolutely everyone. Okay, I'm not gonna finish this video until I tag people, so I've decided to tag Ali from the Hardback Hoarder, Jessie from Jessie's Shelf, and finally Holly from Holly Hearts Books. If you want to purchase any of the books that I mentioned in this video today, all the Book Depository purchase links will be down in the description, so you can check them out. You can purchase them there, and you can help me out by doing so. And I also have social medias. I'm at G-Swizzelbooks on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm also at Goodreads. That's www.goodreads.com/gswizzle. I love you, book lovers, and I will see you later. Peace.